The following program presents principles designed to promote good health and is not intended to take the place of personalized professional care. The opinions and ideas expressed are those of the speaker. Viewers are encouraged to draw their own conclusions about the information presented.
Hello and welcome to Health for a Lifetime. I'm your host, Don McIntosh. Are you relaxed? You should be. That's what our guest is going to share with us today and how to do that. We're glad that Skip McCarty, Dr. Skip McCarty, a fellow of the American College of Stress, is with us today. He's going to be sharing really how we can relax. Isn't that right?
Right.
I heard a lot about type A, type B personalities. Does this have anything to do with relaxation?
Well, it has something to do with stress.
Okay.
And this is a series on stress, and relaxation is a component of that. But yes, type A, type B personality is very interesting how that was discovered by two cardiologists, Dr. Meyer Friedman and Ron Rosenman. And there was an upholsterer that was going around the city just upholstering different office furniture. And he happened to mention to them, he says, yours is the only office I find where the armrests on your chairs, the end of those armrests are clawed. And of course, they're doing all these open heart surgeries. And they started talking about that and saying, I wonder if our patients are really different, if they're just nervous or what. And they did this research and then came out with the type A, type B personality characteristics. And the type A personality is someone who's highly competitive. They're competitive even if they're playing a table game with their kids. They go to win. They go out to win. Very time urgent, trying to pack as many things as possible in the shortest period of time as possible, aggressive, very ambitious. They feel guilty relaxing. They have a hard time relaxing. And because they feel they need to be accomplishing something, not accomplishing something when they're relaxing. Impatient, kind of hostile. The toughest thing, the hardest thing on a type A person is a type B person, a more relaxed type person. And they're very fast action and speech. If you ever talk to somebody and you get in the middle of a sentence, you kind of lose your train, they'll finish a sentence for you. They'll supply the missing word. And because of this, because they're so demanding of other people and also demanding of themselves, they tend to be somewhat socially isolated because people just, it's hard to be around them for very long.
You're not a type A person, are you?
You'll have to ask my wife, but on a scale of 1 to 10 with the 10 being the highest you can be on a type A, we both rank me about an 8.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. So a type B person, what are they like?
Well, type B is just about be the reverse of the type A.
Okay.
They're more easygoing, more relaxed. They're easily satisfied. More they play for fun, not to win, not necessarily just to win. They are much easier to roll with the punches. They're not compulsively driven. They're still successful. A study of 100 government leaders found that 40% of them were type B. So it doesn't mean you're not successful if you're type B. It just means you're not driven compulsively. They don't try to cram as many events as they possibly can into a limited period of time. That's the type B person. And none of us, Don, are totally type A. Well, some people may be totally type A. I have some people tell me they're 11 on the scale of 1 to 10 type A. And very few people are down at number 1. We're somewhere usually in between. And you're the type A enders or the type B enders.
So, in other words, on this show, I see that there's absolutely no upholstery left here on these.
You have relaxed people.
And, okay, so type A, just really going for it all the time. Type B, more laid back, but still, we need to be a mix or we need to...
Yeah. Well, if you're type A, you need to be aware that Drs. Myers and Friedman did research on 3,000 patients and found that you were 70% more likely to have an open heart surgery and a heart attack if you were type A. So a high-end type A. So you need to build some things into your lifestyle that will buffer the effects of being type A.
Now, you have a seminar that's entitled Stressed Beyond Coping, and you became a fellow of the American Institute of Stress as a result of this seminar. What do you tell people that are type A? I mean, as I'm listening to you, I think, and probably my wife is thinking too right now, You know, he really needs to be listening to this. This is one of those tapes you'll have playing when I come home, maybe. What should a type A person do?
Well, a goal, Don, of all stress management, one of the goals is what I call the Concorde factor.
Okay.
Concorde factor, the Concorde was the British transatlantic flight airplane that still, even though subsequent even to the crash of Paris in the year 2000 of the Concorde, still the safest plane ever built. And it flies at supersonic speeds. When it's traveling at supersonic speeds, it can be 69 degrees outside the plane, but the shell, because of the friction cutting through the atmosphere, is 261 degrees plus Fahrenheit, a difference of over, is minus 69 on the outside, difference of over 300 degrees.
Wow.
And it puts great strain on the plane. The body actually lengthens by several inches. And to accommodate that, the coach on the inside is built on rollers, and they have 4 huge air conditioners. So you're in living room comfort on the inside, while all this turbulence is on the outside. And one of the goals of stress management is to achieve a peace and tranquility within, while there's great turbulence and distress outwardly.
We need to be like Concorde.
On the outside. Be somewhat like the Concorde, right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So anything else we should do?
Well, the way to get to the Concorde is relaxation.
Relaxation.
And
okay,
relaxation is, there are 7 keys to managing stress. And going back to the stress tank that we've developed in another program, the 7 keys to relaxation to prevent, or 7 keys to managing stress that prevent the buildup of stress in our lives, in our stress tank, so to speak, to the overflow point, is relaxation. One of those keys is relaxation, a very important one on
so that releases the pressure.
Right. And when you the stress, if we look at the stress pyramid, relaxation is it's about halfway up the stress pyramid, with the most important being at the top and working down from there. Relaxation is a very important component. All the stress experts, in fact, there were 19 different corporate wellness programs studied by Dr. Richard Lazarus, and 12 of them taught only relaxation techniques. So relaxation is very important for stress management.
So we need education in how to relax.
We all do. We all do.
All right. Do you ever feel guilty when you're relaxing?
Yes, but you know, I've learned that, and one of the things that makes it hard for type A people to relax is that they feel like they need to be accomplishing something. When you're relaxing, you're not accomplishing something. But when you realize the importance of relaxation, that relaxation, you are accomplishing something. In fact, because it's benefiting your health, and you're at a health risk if you don't learn how to relax.
Last night I was staying in a place where I think some people were really relaxing. They were laughing almost uproariously till about 12 o'clock. And I mean, just listening to them laugh kind of made me laugh sometimes. What about humor? Does it help us at all with relaxation?
Humor is number 1 on the scale of relaxation.
Is that right?
Yep. It relieves tension, activates disease-fighting endorphins. Humor is so important. If you've ever been in a tense situation and you know how, well, you're a great one at that. You enjoy laughing. You love laughing, and that's a great tension reliever. Abraham Lincoln was great at that. One time he was debating with Douglas, and Douglas accused him of being two-faced. And when Lincoln got back up, he said, "Now, come on, folks. If I was two-faced, would I be wearing this one?" And relaxation is a tremendous. Dr. William Fry at Stanford University likens it to internal jogging. It gives
jogging.
It gives your internal organs a workout, and you actually tense up during relaxation. During a good belly laugh, you tense up, and then they've found that the relaxation effects subsequent to a good laugh can last as long as 45 minutes.
Wow! So a merry heart does do good like a medicine.
And I love the way there's a book called "Don't Get Angry, Laugh," or get fun. Don't get angry, get funny. And it talks about the misery index. And have you ever been in a situation where you were in a very difficult and distressing situation, and then later on you could look back and laugh at it?
Oh yeah, just last week.
Well, the misery index is the length of time it takes between when you go through a situation like that and when you can laugh at it. And the goal, the great goal in stress management is to get that index as short as you can until you can actually be in a situation that's very difficult You can say, someday we're going to laugh at this. What's there to laugh at? And start and being able to laugh while you're actually
Now, if you do
in
that too soon,
situation.
they're going to think that maybe you need to go to a certain type of institution where
You're
there's
not
lots
taking
of
it
people
seriously enough.
with pink coats and whatnot around you.
But it can be healthy to be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a great point. All right, so anything else we should do?
Well, there's just relaxation breathing, very simple thing, but it's belly breathing. You know, when you watch a little baby breathe, its little tummy goes up and down, it's laying on its back. But we learn when we're adolescents, it's not too cute walking around having our little tummies going in and out. So we learn chest breathing. But when we breathe with our bellies, let our bellies expand, it drops the diaphragm. We can actually take a lot more air in. Then we can chest breathe as well to get a good deep breath. And even in just 15 seconds, taking a good deep breath, holding it for just a few seconds, and then letting it out slowly can bring tremendous relief. Dr. Robert Elliott was 40 years old. He was chief of cardiology at the University of Nebraska, had a heart attack.
Well, that's not good.
He then went into stress medicine. He's now director of stress medicine at Denver, Colorado. He wrote this: chest breathing, the most common, tends to be rapid and shallow, especially under stress. The slow, regular, deep breaths characteristic of abdominal breathing, on the other hand, are associated with physical calm. There's a good deal of evidence that when people switch from chest to abdominal breathing, even temporarily, emotional and physical distress diminish significantly. He wrote an excellent book on stress called Is It Worth Dying For?
I think we should just take a couple of deep breaths right now.
Sounds good.
Boy, that does feel good. Now, you know, in your seminar, I also noticed that you talked a lot about islands of peace. Is that someplace in Hawaii or someplace we can go? Nice atmosphere, is that what you mean? Or what are islands of peace?
Well, islands of peace can be a whole series of things. They can be just taking a walk, taking a short nap, taking a lunch break, taking a deep breathing break.
Changing what you're doing and doing something else.
Taking vacation, taking a day off. If you take a vacation, you want to plan to come back a couple of days early because most vacations are fairly stressful.
We're going an island of peace from your island of peace.
That's right. The Sabbath is a great island of peace that God has given to us. There's a book written by a Notre Dame graduate, Marva Dawn, called Keeping the Sabbath Holy, that she talks about the importance of the Sabbath. And she tells a story in there about pioneers going over the Oregon Trail, and they were trying to get to the west before winter set in, going through the Midwest. And so they were debating whether they should keep the Sabbath or not, and they split up into two groups. One group thought they couldn't afford to keep the Sabbath. The other group thought they would keep the Sabbath. Interestingly enough, the ones that got to the west first was the group that kept the Sabbath. Sabbath it comes back to us. That rest and relaxation comes back to us.
I remember when I was in school, after each class, I'd go up and I'd run up and I'd go through the parking lot and come back around. And, well, it didn't really help me much in school, but I felt a lot better.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of thing you're talking about, island of peace.
Yep.
Another thing I noticed here that was fascinating to me, of course, coming from a healthcare background, was making peace with your environment.
This is so important, Don, making peace with your environment. It simply means taking things that are distracting to you and turning them into friends. I was traveling across country from Salt Lake City to Lincoln, Nebraska one time. I was too poor to get a motel and too cheap to get a motel. I stopped at a rest stop midway. I was so tired. It was the middle of the night. Rolled the window down a little bit because it was in the summertime to get early summer to get a little fresh air. And then there were like 20 trucks lined up behind me, just droning away, going like crazy.
Diesels, you mean, and that smell too and everything.
They don't turn off, man, because it's too hard to turn them back on. So they're just going all night. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll never get to sleep this way. But you know what? I found that I thought that through, and I thought, those guys could wake up at any time. It's not very safe me being here in the middle of the night, my window rolled down. But with those guys likely to wake up at any time with their CBs calling for help, I'm probably pretty safe here. So then that sound of those diesels droning away became music and put me right to sleep. Making peace with your environment, turning distractions into friends.
I think the same thing in the hospital. I take care of patients, and they have all those monitors going off and different things, and they say, can't we turn these off? I said, if you turn those off, that's a bad sign. You want those to keep beeping. And a lot of patients would say, hey, you know, that really helped. That they made peace with it then.
That's exactly the point.
We've been talking with Dr. Skip McCarty. He's written a seminar called Stress Beyond Coping. He is a fellow of the American Institute of Stress. And we hope that what you've been learning has been helpful to you, and we hope you join us when we come back.
Have you found yourself wishing that you could shed a few pounds? Have you been on a diet for most of your life, but not found anything that will really keep the weight off? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, then we have a solution for you that works. Dr. Hans Deal and Dr. Eileen Luddington have written a marvelous booklet called Reversing Obesity Naturally, and we'd like to send it to you free of charge. Here's a medically sound approach successfully used by thousands who were able to eat more and lose weight permanently without feeling guilty or hungry through lifestyle medicine. Dr. Deal and Dr. Luddington have been featured on 3ABM, and in this booklet, they present a sensible approach to eating, nutrition, and lifestyle changes that can help you prevent heart disease, diabetes, and even cancer. Call or write today for your free copy of Reversing Obesity Naturally, and you could be on your way to a healthier, happier you. It's absolutely free of charge, so call or write today.
Welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Skip McCarty. He's a fellow with the American Institute of Stress, and we've been learning some really interesting things about how to relax. You know, doctor, sometimes I find it very hard to relax. My schedule just doesn't seem to allow for it. What should I do?
Well, you're right. We just all have to make a commitment to plan lighter days when we get into those kind of situations. Dr. Meyer Friedman, the one who was with Dr. Ron Rosenman, discovered type A, type B personality and wrote the book on it. He said that he had a heart attack when he was fairly young. He was just pushing himself. He was a type A himself. And he said that he came up with what he called a 5-year rule. And that is when he was asked to do something, he would ask himself, will this matter in 5 years? He said that thinned out his calendar considerably because we say no to so many things. And, you know, Don, in World War II, talking about this very issue, the British people, when they converted their factories over to war munitions factories and making war machines, they got up, their average worker got up to 66 hours a week of work. And they found that their quality had gone way down, their productivity was dropping. So they, just as government policy began to cut back the work hours, they got it back to 48 hours and found that productivity had increased by 5% over 66 hours. By actually working less, they accomplished more, and the quality had gone back up to a very high degree of quality. So actually, the idea that working more accomplishes more has a limit, because after a certain point, we actually accomplish less by working more, don't enjoy it as much, and we actually come up with a poorer quality product.
So less is more.
To a point, that's right.
To a certain extent.
Yep.
You know, I think that one thing you've just shared now is going to make a lot of people want to get this tape. They're going to be showing it to their bosses. They're going to show it to all these different people. What about exercise and relaxation?
Well, it's interesting. Exercise is one of the things we need to be able to relax. You'd think opposite of that, but have you ever been so tired you couldn't sleep? So tired you couldn't sleep. Maybe you haven't, but
yes, I have.
Yeah, I have too. And we can do that if we're just doing desk type work, because we get mentally fatigued but not physically fatigued. What exercise does, it brings a physical fatigue. Even if you exercise earlier in the day, there's a physical fatigue that accompanies exercise that enables you to relax. After you're tensed up, after you exercise, you have a deeper relaxation response for hours afterwards.
Did you sleep better last night after our 5-mile walk?
I slept much better after our 5-mile walk.
Oh, yeah. Man, I did too. It was great. So that's what we need to do. We need to, especially if we're doing brain work.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
How much should we sleep when we go to sleep?
Research shows, Don, that we need between 7 to 8 hours sleep to be the best. People who sleep less than that or more than that actually die at a higher rate than those who sleep 7 to 8 hours. But the rule of thumb is that if you're waking to an alarm clock, you're not getting enough sleep. You need to wake before the alarm goes off.
Throw those alarm clocks out. And
that's right.
This is good news for lots of people.
And in fact, the only way that I've found to accomplish that is to manage the night before. You can't set the alarm earlier or just set the alarm later. That doesn't work. You gotta try to go into bed a little bit earlier the night before. Turn off the TV program a little earlier. Turn on the VCR and tape it if you have to or whatever. But go to sleep a little bit earlier the night before and keep doing that. Still set the alarm at the time you need to give up. But the alarm should be the fail-safe.
Okay.
You should be waking before the alarm. Then your body has had the sleep that it needs, and you're ready to go to work.
Did you have teenagers?
Yes, I had teenagers. I had 6 of them.
Would you trust this with them, no alarm clock?
Well, if they were... I didn't trust myself as a teenager with no alarm clock, but...
Yeah, okay. So you were their alarm clock probably at that time. But we need to go to bed earlier so we can get up. Any types of things that can help us relax?
Yes, there's a whole series of fun things that I refer to as relaxation devices, and I've got some of them here. Just little things I pick up that just relax me. I can sit on my desk at work. This is a little stress ball. There's all kinds of stress balls, and you take it and just play with it at work.
Yeah, let me see that.
Here's an herbal tea, a stress tea that my wife just loves.
That doesn't look like a stress tea.
It's a stress tea. It's an herbal tea.
Better get a close-up
I don't know
of
if it
that.
works. I don't know if it works.
Okay.
But even just the thought of it, you're drinking a stress tea. My wife loves the stress tea there.
This does say RX Stress Relief Elixir on the bottle.
Yes,
Excellent.
it does. And this is a back rubber.
It's a fun one.
You rub this up and down on your back, and it really is quite... someone gave this to me at the end of a seminar that we did, and it really is very comfortable. I didn't even know how to use it, but in one of my last seminars, somebody taught me how to use this, and it's wonderful.
Excellent. Are these gifts for the host?
They're not gifts for the host. They're demonstrations. There's all kinds of cards. Here's one: the best things in life aren't things. And you just put a few of these things around on your... I know God won't give me anything I can't handle. I just wish He didn't trust me so much. Mother Teresa. I don't doubt if she actually said that, but that was a card that came that way.
So these are kind of little humorous anecdotes that make you just put things in perspective.
Somebody in one of my seminars, in a little show and tell time we had, came up with just a little Post-it thing. And so, how did that help you sleep? Well, she puts this by her bedside because she gets ideas in the middle of the night sometimes. And she puts this by her bedside with a pen, and she can even in the dark just write enough to be able to read it in the next morning. Then she can just turn off that idea and go to sleep instead of laying there hoping she remembers it by morning time.
Excellent idea.
Here was a little something that we got at our church. It's a free sample card, and it was one of these. It sounds like they personalized it, but it says, "Dear Pioneer Memorial Church, we haven't a clue as to why you haven't sent for your free sample pair of Silky's pantyhose, Mrs. Pioneer Memorial Church." And it's got they say they've got our size and everything, so it's written to the church. I don't know if you've ever...
So this is a stress reliever because it was humorous.
It's humorous. That's exactly right.
Okay.
So it's just a little something, a little device.
A church wearing pantyhose.
Have you ever seen the manatees?
Humorous. Yeah.
They're absolutely wonderful. They're like huge elephants in the sea. And down at SeaWorld at San Diego, we saw the manatees. And just watching them just drained stress out of my life. So we bought this little thing. I put it on my desk. When I look at that, I tell you what, if it's an intense time, you just feel the stress draining out of you. Look at those eyes. I know those look beautiful.
I don't know if this is going to work for you folks, but
I love this. We picked this up at Union Station in Washington, D.C. It has the most relaxing colors. It's a kaleidoscope. And it's the most beautiful colors. And you get in a tense time, you pick that up and just sit back for a couple of minutes and relax. It's wonderful. It does wonderful things for you.
I'll be back with you in a minute.
These are some stress-reducing videos. Moody Bible Institute, they've got some wonderful ones here at 3ABN as well. And one of my favorites is what I call a stress pencil. I ordered out of a magazine one time. You're in the middle of a tense meeting, and you pull out your stress pencil. It actually says on it, "My stress pencil." And on the other end, it's got a little something that
it's a pacifier.
You can pacifier. So there's all kinds of fun relaxation devices you can use to help lower the stress levels at serious times.
I've got to say that this is probably a first on Health for a Lifetime. All these are very helpful ideas. Relaxation devices. Anything else? I mean, could there be anything else after this?
Well, Don, the real key is what relaxes you. Do you know what relaxes you?
I do.
And do you do it?
Yes, I do.
That's perfect. And everybody has to ask that question. What is it that relaxes me? We did a little remodeling here a while back, and my wife got herself a jacuzzi bathtub. She absolutely loves it. And she's in that thing every night. She spends maybe 20 minutes in that thing every night, just relaxing. She has a high-stress job in her work. And we got another thing we put in that I didn't know I was going to like so much is a gas log fireplace. They make them now so beautiful. They look like real logs. There's not like the old gas log fireplace.
No stress from having to get
I didn't think I was going to like it.
Okay.
But you know what? Every night, man, when I come home in the winter or as soon as it gets cool enough, I turn that thing on first thing when I get home. I turn it on first thing in the morning, and I just sit there and read. I just absolutely love that gas log fireplace. So what relaxes you, and then do it.
Anything that relaxes you, except for it can't be harmful to you. It can't be comfort foods or something like that. It needs
Exactly.
to be something that's along with the 7 keys you've been talking about in the Beyond Coping seminar.
Exactly. Yep.
You have down here the Serenity Prayer.
Don, the Serenity Prayer is so awesome. I've had people tell me several weeks into our seminar, our stress seminar, that they weren't sleeping before they came, but now they are. And it's amazing to me the power the Serenity Prayer has. One lady told me, she said, I just repeat the Serenity Prayer to me every night before I go to bed. The Serenity Prayer, when people ask me, give me one idea, just one idea. They hear I do something on stress, they say, give me one idea on stress. I always start with a Serenity Prayer. When someone comes to me with under a lot of stress and they want some help, get some ideas and some counsel or something, and I listen to their story, one of the first things I do is, after I assess the resources that they have available to them, is try to apply the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer is very simple. Many people know it, but it simply goes like this. Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so many people, Don, are wearing themselves out, fighting against things they cannot change, struggling against those things, trying to change things they cannot change. They're dissipating their energies. They have no energy left to work on the things they really can do something about, which often are internal things. And the Serenity Prayer is not a vow we make or a strong commitment where we grit our teeth. I'm going to accept the things I cannot change. I'm going to be tough here. No, it's releasing those things. It's a prayer. We release them into the hands of somebody who can do something about them. And just rest in that. We have confidence in that. Maybe what we can do is very small. The little change we can make is small, but concentrating on the change we can make and then focusing on that, continuing to pray that prayer, continuing to ask God to help us know the difference between what we can change, what we can't change, can bring such peace and such deep relaxation. It really brings the whole concept of relaxation into another whole realm.
So in your seminar, it probably helps them get the wisdom to know the difference.
Well, that's one of the things we do work on, yes. And this seminar, by the way, is available through the Health Ministries Department of the General Conference.
We've been talking with Dr. Skip McCarty. He's written a new seminar called Stress Beyond Coping. As a result, he was given a fellowship with the American Institute of Stress and has really gone around the country sharing these concepts with others. We hope that this material has been a blessing to you, and that as a result of today's program you can find fun ways to relax, and that you can make that a priority in your daily schedule, and that you'll have health that lasts for a lifetime.